you off.
Okay, we're recording.
Standard,
It's a
JP.
going joke now. It's a going joke.
Oh, yeah, true.
Wait, what is
do
this?
the
What
claps.
episode? What episode is this?
No, gee.
What episode? That's too loud. Yeah.
There we go.
Welcome back. We've got JP, Maddie, Shawnee. We are here on episode 7. Are we episode 7?
Episode
Episode 7 of the Dropouts podcast. Thank you for tuning in. For those of you that have been tuning in for a little while now,
Yeah,
all 7 episodes. Big shout out to you.
Shout out.
I think we've got almost coming on to 1,000 plays
Oh,
on Spotify.
What have we hit? What are we since you
I
last
think
checked?
850.
Wow.
850, 150 to go. So that's pretty cool.
Love
Pretty
that.
exciting.
Man, that far exceeded. And I know that's not a lot of plays, but that far exceeded my expectations in terms of what we
100%.
Yeah,
said.
and it's been going up quite consistently, which is really good. So, so 1,000 will be great to get to that and see how we go from there. But yeah, episode 7. What are we talking about?
We'll celebrate something. 1,000
Yeah,
plays. We're gonna go to
1,000
dinner or
plays.
something.
Yeah,
Korean barbecue. something
Korean
like that.
barbecue. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
happy to do that. But I just think it's like, if we're shooting for 30, 35 and beyond, it's like,
Yeah.
isn't it funny how we still got to do double, then triple? We've got to keep going.
True.
You know what I mean?
But it's just like it's nice to celebrate. Obviously, it's like mad to celebrate the wins along the way because
Absolutely.
I feel like just coming into this, I just didn't expect so many people to even mention it to us.
Totally.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
right.
And obviously, don't get me wrong. It's always people like within 1, 2, 3 degrees of separation anyway. It's not like, we're getting...
You stopped on the street.
Funnily enough, Dylan Clifford told me the other day, shout out Cliffos,
You.
we'll get some merch. Actually, yeah.
We need to get some merch and
we
actually
need to
wear
get
the same merch.
the same merch.
The same
He
time.
was saying that a guy, maybe he went to school with, I don't know, a random guy that he knows was like, oh, bro, I've been listening to that podcast. And Dylan Clifford was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, wow.
Man, that's
Yeah,
cool.
No, dude, to be honest with you, I was out, just walking in Bunnings the other day and someone just stopped me. She's like, hey,
Shut the fuck
can
up.
I get a photo?
You're fucking good. Anyway, sorry. I digressed.
Just taking a piss.
Yeah,
No one
That
stopped
was
me.
good. That was good.
She's like, stop stealing. I'm like, okay. I was like, I thought you wanted a photo.
Sorry, I digressed. Today we're talking about technology.
Yeah. 100%, yeah.
So yeah, I mean I know that Maddie, you came up with the idea for the topic, but I think we were just sitting down and
Let's just be real right now. So a lot of the topics that we kind of come up with or, are based around, we like to come up with a theme for the week. That's generally how we sort of, I guess, had the best way of coming up with these ideas and then able to springboard off each a topic. And that's how we found the most
A broad
success.
theme.
A
Broad theme
broad
and
topic.
then-
And
yeah.
But also,
yesterday...
Our experience around it as well.
And I know a lot of
Yeah.
people have been, and we might have mentioned this in the last episode, people come up, ask us, or people that we know ask us, like, oh, have you guys got like a 5 episode? We literally...
One
just
episode.
one episode
Yeah.
at a time. We also discuss prior to actually pressing record, should we actually continue with this topic?
Yeah, is
it's
this gonna
nowhere
be a
near
good
as
topic?
planned out as
Is it going to
as
be
you
one?
might
Yeah.
think.
Is there going to be a bit of silence in there or no? But it's been good though with what topics we had so far.
I
Yeah.
think that's a
Yeah.
big part of hopefully the success that we continue to have is definitely the chemistry. So if you're looking to start a podcast, do it with people that you actually enjoy, having a conversation with. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. With these nice,
cute.
I think, is there like a no sound like on this?
we
Like
should definitely upload one because I think
Yeah,
that
I know.
100%.
That was beautiful. That
yeah,
was
beautiful.
Just
JP, kick
for
us
the
off. It's a
sentimental
very
stuff.
broad topic, technology. So
Yeah, so broad. I mean, I was thinking about this earlier because Shawnee and I were chatting about it earlier before at training, but I was just thinking. Obviously, I work in tech, so I was going off on a whole tangent about this generative AI and stuff. But then I was like, you know what? Like, what are my earliest memories of tech? And I was thinking about how. My dad in his old Volvo that we're in, he had like the phones that were plugged into the cigarette lighters with a huge cord and like a massive handset. And I was just thinking like how far technology has come since we were kids, and like just how unbelievable it is to think that we have like what we would have considered like. We wouldn't have even fathomed having a computer that powerful compared to what we have in our hands today.
Well,
so.
computer in our hand. That's
Yeah,
right.
literally.
I feel like everything has kind of just like streamlined and then been done on a phone. So we know that no longer need a separate thing for a phone and
Yeah,
a
5 or
computer to write emails and then a TomTom or a Navman to have a Google Maps on our phone. We have all of this power.
TomToms.
Bro, remember
Remember
that?
those?
But bro, hey, Rob, what about fucking street directories? You know what I mean?
The Gregory.
The map.
We used to
map.
call the Gregory. What did you guys
yeah,
call
we had
it?
one. Yeah, we had that in New Zealand.
Because that was the brand, the Gregory.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it was literally it was always in the back behind the
Yeah.
passenger seat in the
Yeah.
back. The that's where we put it in the sliding thing. everything,
And you had to look at like the F.
bro. And you had to go to like
the
page
number.
95.
I know some
Yeah,
people
yeah.
that just continue to love using the street directory purely just because they're like, no,
That's
I don't-
gangster.
They
Oh,
love
wow.
it.
I want to
That's
know who
old
that
school.
is.
My uncles are just like, hey, just give me the street directory, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
But
Go
that-
straight.
yeah.
Left, right.
Oh,
Yeah, they
bro,
love
But
that.
there's also
that's a
people that have it in
skill.
their head. Like they use the street directory, but now they just know everything.
Totally.
Every
Yeah.
street, like
Yeah.
off the bat.
Well, it's crazy because like now, and I've gotten a lot better at it since I've been traveling a fair bit. But I using a map was so foreign to me until like
Yeah.
maybe 5 years ago. But now I like to look at a map whenever I'm going somewhere in
Yeah.
Sydney.
Right.
But when I first looked at it, I was thinking to myself, man, I have literally no idea where I am. I just follow the nav, and I have
you look up and you're
no
like, oh.
idea where
Yeah.
I am, what direction I'm going,
Totally.
my north,
Yeah.
south, east, west.
Isn't
no
that
idea.
funny? But that extends across all like aspects of technology. We've gotten
Yeah.
dumber and more reliant on tech, not just in working out how to use a map, but in all forms, like writing emails or writing notes. Like I think there was more of a correlation between actually memorizing information when you're writing it out by hand as merely
Yeah.
by typing
Or
it,
searching it,
or
like,
searching
you know,
it.
like-
Even
Oh,
at school right
bro.
now, like kids will just be using ChatGPT for frigging everything.
Man,
bro.
Yeah, ChatGPT is a big,
it's like
big
that's
thing now, isn't it?
it's crazy the stuff that's going to do. Like think about it. It's literally like now you don't actually have to think about what you're going to write.
Yeah,
You
but
can
that's,
just
and it's even in its infancy now.
Yeah.
It's not even like
exactly,
It's
and you
not
can
even yeah.
you can just type a bunch of bullshit in and it'll fix it right up for you and make it sound like. I mean, even I know. You know, there are certain people that are out there that maybe don't have the command. I mean, it's amazing for those people that maybe don't have the command of the English language, the vocabulary. But it even goes to think like you know, it's almost the same like the calculator and maths. I mean, we were all here for the calculator, right?
Right.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we can talk to someone who was there was
abacus.
no calculator, and
Yeah.
they'll
The
say to you
abacus.
like, oh, you know, when people actually had to do their own
Yeah.
additional. I feel like that's what ChatGPT has done with the English language.
However, with maths, you still need to have like at least a decent understanding, and
yeah.
you're using the calculator to like
True.
further your own understanding. With ChatGPT, you can be a dumbass and just like jump on ChatGPT, but also it's limited to the prompts as well.
So the dropouts are good.
Yeah, we've got like a teleprompter here, like with the messages reading out. Do you remember that
We're not
scene in
even
that
real.
movie when he's like reading the news? Steve Carell and Jim
yeah,
Carrey's
yeah.
like,
Is that Bruce Almighty?
yeah, Bruce
Almighty,
Almighty.
yeah,
Yes,
that's funny.
And my tiny little nipples went to France. Classic. Classic.
Yeah, 100%. And like even going from that, I look at like Spotify and how that's changed the game for music. Like
Bad.
You know, like I don't know about you boys. You're a bit younger than me, so back when I was listening to music, obviously the radio first, and that had been around for a long time. But then we came into using the tape decks. And the Walkmans.
Cassette.
The
Oh, Walkman.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
gangster.
Bro, so I remember when
Bro, you are old.
yeah, damn,
No, bro, I fucking know. I was at the back end. I was at the back end of clearing your throat,
No,
bro.
not me, bro.
Yeah, I was at the back end of the Walkman, but you would have been like,
Yeah,
deep
I
in
would
the
have been
Walkman,
deep.
yeah.
Like I think it was like my 6th or 7th birthday. I bloody got a Walkman. I woke up in the morning and I went to my parents' room, or I think it was my dad's room, and he had a present for me. Opened it up and it was a Walkman. And I was super pumped, super excited. And it was had the Backstreet Boys. That was the tape that I had. That was going from that, the Walkman, going obviously from there to the CD Discman. Was that next jump coming in?
Oh wait, hold on a second. Maybe I'm thinking of the Discman.
That's what you're
Oh,
thinking.
I'm
of.
thinking
maybe
about a
you're the
Discman.
He's talking
Oh,
about cassette
fuck.
tapes.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
nah,
Well,
I
I'm talking
wasn't
about
there.
cassette
I
tape.
wasn't there for that, bro.
Yeah.
It's like the 80s with like an old school hat on backwards and he's just walking.
Yeah.
with
He's got a
cassette, man.
boombox
Yeah,
on his
boombox on his
shoulder.
shoulder.
Yeah. So I remember even like when we, because look at Spotify now and how you can sort of play a song and then you can see the words, like the lyrics right there and then. So back when I was back in the day, we obviously had a big tape deck, and then we had to record everything off the radio.
Wow.
So we'd do the tape deck, and then we'd record the songs. Then I'll get a piece of paper and pen, and I'd write out the words.
Wow.
So I remember writing out Nelly when he first came out, his first ever song, Country Grammar. And then
I remember that song.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
brother.
a cool song.
yeah, so I'll record it, play it, and then I'll just play stop, and I'll write the
Oh,
song.
you
So I
write
can
the
learn
lyrics?
the words.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's hectic.
So I was like, I'm going down, baby, your street in a Range Rover, street super bad, ready to let it go.
Still remembers them.
Bro, I still remember writing it, like my blue pen on my piece of paper, and then obviously from there was the CD Discman. And then from there was the MP3 player.
Yeah.
And then,
And then I remember iTunes first came out, and
iTunes
it was
was
like
after that.
YouTube to MP3 to thing, and then I would make the cover albums off like Google Images just to try and get the album looking
Did you
like.
buy? There's no way you bought stuff off iTunes.
No, I never bought stuff off
surely.
iTunes.
Yeah.
LimeWire or
Napster?
like Pirate
Not
Bay.
LimeWire,
Yeah, Pirate Bay. Oh,
Pirate
bro.
Bay.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, just remember like the start
Illegal
of the movies.
downloads.
Remember the start of the movies? I had that like trailer of like, don't download
Don't
illegal
download.
movies.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
remember
yeah,
that?
But even no, bro. Sometimes you download something and just all of a sudden
crashes your
it's
computer.
a fucking porno. You remember that shit?
Really?
Maddie's like, you did that on purpose.
JP
Mum,
knew,
what an accident.
JP knew exactly what he was doing. So that was it's pretty cool to see how that's come obviously now on your phone now, like we just said before. Like it's crazy, just one click of a button, and then even in your car as well, where you can do your maps, you can do your music.
Well, this is what, and you say like now it's on your phone. It's funny because I saw something, I don't know if it was on Instagram or something, where Steve Jobs was talking about when he first came out with the iPhone, and he didn't market it as like, oh, look at all these features, and he was just like 1,000 songs in your pocket. Like, that was the pitch, right?
Yeah, wow.
For the iPod, that was the slogan. So, like, you know, we had like on the MP3 players. I remember I had like creative. It was this creative Movo MP3 player that I had. It could store like 20 songs or 50 songs or something. Yeah. So I had to always like interchange.
And you knew the order of it. You were getting up to like that 15th song. You're like, oh, here we go. We're going back to the start now. And click next song. Next song.
But that was even good though. But when you had the cassette tape, you had to flip it over, you had to wind it, you had to get a pen, put it in, and then rewind it up. So,
but in a lot of ways, I feel like how much better
it's,
can it get?
do
you know what I mean? Like how much better can it get? And now we have like Spotify and iPhone, and the same in a lot of applications. It's like, where do we go here from? Like where do we go here?
I think it'll just become more like, I mean, even like now, have you heard on the AirPods like the spatial audio? It's pretty fucking crazy. Like you move your head and the audio
changes.
On the AirPod Pros, like. The audio will like it feels like you're literally like it's
enveloped in the sound.
Yeah. It feels like you're in it. Like I don't know how much further we can go with music, but I was just thinking about before when we were talking about the like earliest editions of these types of technologies. Like I was thinking about how gaming has changed, and obviously I love my
Fortnite.
gaming. But I was just thinking about how like I started out with I had a Nintendo 64 and we
loved it, bro. Best
were you guys Nintendo or
ever.
PS1?
Nintendo 64.
I had Mario Brothers. Well, I had Nintendo, and then I had PS1.
You had a Sega.
Well, yeah. It's
Did you have a Sega?
Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog.
GameCube.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So and then we had Alex the Kid. I think that was on Nintendo.
What's that? Alex
the Kid. You know what Alex the Kid is?
Never heard of it.
No?
That's not Alex the Kid. That's something else. That's fucking Super Mario.
No, Super Mario is dun dun
Dun,
dun 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 dun.
By the way, I saw that movie. It's not too bad.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Who'd you see it with?
With one of the buddies.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's right.
So I had Alex the Kid. I'm sure that was free on.
Alex the Kid.
I'm sure it's free
Nintendo?
on Nintendo.
I think it's probably one of like the
free.
less famous games. But that's
But
the
then you had
great.
Super Mario Bros. No,
Yeah.
Alex the Kid is famous. Like it's fucking
Oh,
famous.
really?
Trust
I
me.
need to Google it.
Super Mario 64 is the greatest game of all time.
Thank you.
Super
It's
Mario.
the greatest
Yeah,
game
no, no,
of
no,
all
sorry,
time.
Super Smash Brothers, but
Nah, Super Mario 64
Super Mario
is
Brothers.
collecting all
Single
120
player
stars.
game.
Bro,
It's a single player
but
game.
Super Mario was
That's
just
fine, but it's
so
good.
dope, bro. Like it just
You're right.
got
it
my
was
imagination. You walk into
Yeah.
each door, then you jump into the
Yeah.
painting, and then you're in the game.
Bro, I full forgot
remember
that.
all that?
Bro, and
and
then
then
the
you're
bosses.
like flying, and you look up into the sky of the castle, and you get to shoot up there, and then
Oh,
you get
boys,
the Mario wings cap.
Oh, bro,
Boys, you
who
must be.
designed that game?
Boys, boys, you
That
must
was
be
the best game.
Bro, I'm talking about Super Mario Brothers, the first one.
Oh, you're talking about Super
the
Mario.
fuck-
I know which one you're talking about.
That's
The one,
the
the one
gangster
where
one.
the one where you're shooting the fire in the fucking
fire.
2D.
Yeah,
Still
yeah,
about
2D.
2D.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the 2D one where you can only see, and he's like, yeah,
Brother, that's the best one.
Yeah.
And he goes, that's one that I used to play. And then I went to PS1.
Yeah,
after
okay.
that.
Oh, PS1.
PS1, Tekken, Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot. What a
Crash
game.
Bandicoot.
I never really played it because I was a Nintendo guy.
Crash Bandicoot was so sick.
Bro, I think someone stole my Nintendo.
No. Did you guys play Lilac Wars?
Nah. Bro, I probably played like
Fox.
Zelda?
Fox McCloud.
Zelda. Yeah, Spyro the Dragon.
I used to play WWF on PlayStation.
Oh, of course.
Bro, Madden. Madden. Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk,
Bro,
Pro
Tony
Skater
Hawk
2.
was hectic.
Pro Skater 2 on PlayStation 2
Bro,
was
Tony
the
Hawk was
best
hectic.
game
That was
ever, bro.
yes.
Bro, I miss these games, bro.
Oh, and then there was Oh no, this is getting
But-
late in our Xbox. I was saying Need for Speed Underground and
Need
shit.
for
like
Speed
for
Underground.
Speed,
Go,
yeah.
Need for From the window
To the wall.
to the wall.
Wait, but how has it changed though? It's still the same. Like it's obviously
But see, that's
the
just
features,
nostalgia
bro.
for us.
Wait
Like
until-
I guess like with being able to buy stuff and being able to like skin.
Get
What is
skin.
it on?
Well, the thing is now, so the fun,
On
the
Fortnite,
most
what's
fun
a-
thing about gaming
How's it
now
changed?
is the fact that you're
Live.
playing against one. It's
Oh,
much
you can
faster,
play
which
against
means
someone.
like you can play online and it's literally like in
Real
real
time.
time, as
Yeah,
opposed
true.
to like I remember when I
lag.
played FIFA online years ago. It was so slow. Oh my
Yeah.
god! Speaking of FIFA, bro, that was like intense rivalries. Me and my cousins. I don't know if I mentioned before, like. Bro, I used to have proper rage. Marcus,
Yeah,
like
we've heard.
Black Magic. Yeah, bro, I used to legit.
Poor Black Magic, he's so tiny.
He used to be one-on-one with the keeper, and he'd stand up and run,
Run.
while he was one-on-one
You're
with the
such a
keeper.
bully.
And I used to like peg the controller, bro. The number of control. Anyway,
Bro, and Black Magic is small, dude. Like, fuck.
It's addicting. It used to it made my kids addicted. My brother used to sit there playing. No matter who family came over, mates came over, he was sit glued on that Xbox. One day, my dad went downstairs after like calling him upstairs for
bro.
10 hours, and my dad just punched a hole through the TV. He's like, "Yeah, you want to play?" Bang! He just put a hole through the TV. My dad, and my brother was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, but nowadays
Shout
they
out,
have these
Dad.
leagues and stuff. You can actually become a millionaire.
yeah, bro.
look at
Bro,
these guys.
esports,
Become
man.
a-
Twitch.
esports, yeah.
EA Sports.
Yeah.
It's in the game.
Oh, I was talking about esports
Yeah, I know, I
specifically. Okay, good. But like, man, there's and I know Gary V talked about it years ago. Esports, how big it would be. Bro, I never understood it, but right now, like if I'm playing Fortnite or whatever, or any game, and I finish or I die or whatever, you can just continue watching. And man, sometimes I just sit there while I'm eating and I'm just like, it's
Watching
so
dudes play.
entertaining
Wow,
watching
right.
dudes play. Like even if I don't know if you ever stream people, like I know Spaniard and stuff, they stream and like a lot of these like celebs and stuff, but man, it's crazy. And it's only going to get crazier when like one day everyone's going to have a VR headset in their house. It's going to happen.
You
But,
reckon?
bro, it's not even a big, like to think that is not even
Like that
it's,
big of a
it's
thing.
not even that big.
It's
a
just like
thing.
having like
Yeah,
a
it's
fridge.
like-
in your
It's going to
house.
be inevitable. Like,
Yeah.
because the thing is, what they're going to do is you're going to have a headset and, Kristen might be able to try on a pair of jeans by
Yeah,
looking
right, yeah.
through augmented reality.
Not just to play a game.
Not just to play a
it's
game,
actually
exactly
life.
right. You'll be able to
Yeah,
walk through a shopping mall
Yeah.
and go and look and take something off a rack,
Yeah.
pick it up,
Well, we're
put it
pretty
on
much
you and
there.
look
But
in a
don't they
mirror.
do that
Like,
now with
They're setting up the
homes?
infrastructure for that now. That's
Yeah.
why there's all these like
The metaverse and everything,
metaverse and all
yeah.
that. That's where it's starting to go down. Like we look at technology now with like such like love in our eyes. We're like, oh, remember this?
Yeah,
or
when
that.
we
But
get
then it's
there.
starting to go down a bit of a darker path.
There's
I feel
always,
like.
like, don't get me wrong. There's going to be bad, there's going like at the end of
anything,
the day,
don't be bad, yeah.
there's going to be someone who makes billions of dollars off VR porn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That shit's fucking horrible. Like at the end of the day, when I say it's just going to be bad for, it's not
The
good.
individual.
Bad.
No, yeah.
Yeah. As in like, mate, it's just ridiculous.
It's
like,
just, yeah.
but the point is, there's always going to be, no matter what technology exists, there's always going to be like
Totally. There's always going to be a
I'm trying to
downside.
think of
mad.
the stuff. Even like now, when we think of like Instagram, social media. Like we know the negative aspects of it. We've known them for so long. We're almost numb to them now.
Yeah,
though.
totally.
Yeah.
I get
Like
it.
we know how bad it is for people when it comes to things like image and comparison and yada yada. And
I feel like it's going to open up a whole door now of things that we never knew were possible through this tech. But games
Yeah.
aside, like where else do you feel like you've seen this rapid like increase
a bit
over
of
the
games
years?
for a while.
I know we were talking,
all the,
we're talking
all
about
the
games.
boys listening will love it.
Yeah.
The girls will be like, pause. Next podcast. What else?
Yeah, what else? So yeah, music was a big thing as well, obviously coming through, but even just the phone in general as well. Like how,
Badly.
again, like you say, like it's just your own computer in your own hand. But you look at it, like you say, like there's some bad aspects to it, but then everybody that's using it to their advantage is coming out on top. Like they're the
100%.
ones- and especially it's only been around phones 15 years.
Yeah,
Or
it's
so.
not that long.
Not that long,
And
yeah.
even social media, it's only been around 10 years or so.
Yeah.
Well, 2008, I think Facebook came out.
Yeah.
So it's still in its infancy.
But the rate at which it started to accelerate is
massive.
greater than anything, because it got to like the first, like when the internet became first accessible, that was like the first insane milestone. Then when the
Yeah,
iPhone
yeah.
came out and he did the keynote on like, this is a wall-to-wall screen, no more buttons. Everyone lost their shit.
Touchscreen.
Touchscreen. You've got
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
these applications in one device.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And now, like naturally, like before that, it was like Nokia 3310. You're playing Bounce on your phone.
That was a hectic
I
game.
loved Bounce. Do you remember Bounce?
Snake as well, bro.
Snake still
Nokia
goat game.
2210.
Yeah, yeah.
Sudoku. You just play that on your phone. Like all these games.
I
man.
never
Bro,
really was
when did you
Stokey,
guys get your
man,
phone?
but
Like,
I'm
when did you
shy
guys
at
get your
it.
phones? Like, I didn't get a phone till I was like 17, 18.
Probably like
'cause I-
15.
School?
Yeah.
No.
But
I remember.
you guys are in the time where phones are already sort of out, and I think iPhones are already out for you guys. Like back
Man,
when
how
I
do
was,
they control that shit at school now?
Bro, they don't. Look
Bro,
at
they
kids,
don't.
bro.
They can't.
Look
Look
at,
yeah.
What how can you even be present?
You can't,
Yeah,
bro.
it's
And it's getting worse
Because the thing
each
is,
year.
your laptop's in front of your face. Your teacher can't see what's on your fucking
Nah.
laptop.
But bro,
No.
even I was like that. But now, like, even you come out of your mum's You know, you come out of the womb.
Okay, what?
Yeah.
I'll rephrase that. You come out of the womb right now, and then you're just literally on
the iPads,
Bro, the iPads,
TV.
and they give them to their kids as a child minding device, and it actually pisses me off.
Bro, I know. You know what? I actually 100% agree, but I swear I've asked new parents, and they just talk about how fucking hard it is to keep them away from it because it's everywhere.
Nah, because the parents themselves aren't good parents. I don't care what I'm saying, bro. I don't care if this offends parents, because you can't just give your kid the phone and just let him whinge and cry and put some self-discipline in your kid. I work in a restaurant. I promise you, every time there's a child there, in fact, there's multiple children in the eating area, and they're just on it, and like they're sitting there with their grandparents, and they don't even stop it while they're eating. Their parents are just feeding them. They're watching these games.
What did people do before? They gave them fucking colouring in, like because this
you just say, sit down and shut up. All right, we're out as a family. All right, that's how you got to raise your kids.
It's that simple to the fucking
stuff up, Maddie.
Yeah,
bro.
Shut up, Maddie.
Look, honestly, I feel like it's that simple, but I feel like when I have kids, there's going to be some other dawning on me that I realize that even though I'm still 100% of that opinion, I feel like it'll be a lot harder than that.
I'm not denying that it's
and
going to
I
be
reckon
hard.
it'll be because they'll be sitting next to their fucking little cousins, and some other parent's going to give them the phone, and they're going to be looking like it's. You know what I mean?
To the best of my ability, if I'm a parent, I'm going to be no, you're not getting your phone, you little shit. Just sit down and eat.
When Kristen and I were on our honeymoon last year, and we were in Positano, we were sitting down in this restaurant, and we noticed something interesting. We're sitting down, we're eating, we looked to our left, or my left and her right, and there was a family, and they had 3 kids. And the parents were sitting on one side of the table, and the kids were sitting on the other side of the table. And the kids were writing something down, and they brought up the book, and I was having a look, and they were playing hangman with their parents. Like cool. They all had like a piece of paper in front of them. One of them had a book next to them, and Kristen and I were like, wow, like that's amazing.
Isn't that amazing? That's amazing nowadays.
But that's the thing. That's so rare to see that. Yeah. So rare to see that. And like
even now, like think about sitting down in the house with your family. Like I know I always try and make an effort as best as I can to sit down and like share stories or just chill together.
Put your phone away.
Right, put your phone away, man. You got every person on every device in there, and I'm such a hypocrite about it.
We all are.
I'm talking about, especially I feel like for younger children that haven't experienced anything other than having, technology at the tip of their fingertips, bro. Their neurological brain is just going to develop so differently to how our brain develops.
And that's the thing. We're only going to know that in like 10, 15.
But it's also a learned behavior as well. So if those kids are watching their parents do it, if I say to my son, hey, get off your thing, and then I'm sitting there on my phone, like doing work or doing X, Y, and Z.
That's a really good point.
They're looking at you going,
as they grow up, they see you, and that must make a difference to their level of like, not addiction, wrong word, but you know what I mean, of like them wanting the phone. Would only be a thing if they see you using it as they grow up, which must be why it's hard for them to deprive them of that once they get to like 3, 4, 5 years old. They want to watch something
because of what they see.
Because they're seeing you, and they're always like reaching for the phone,
reach for the phone.
And bro, you got to watch. Have you seen the babies? They start touching your watch now.
But that's actually scary, bro. Because like, bro, when we were born, there wasn't this. So like, imagine coming out of the womb and like you just see these devices.
Yeah, but again, you look at like as you talked about Gary Vaynerchuk, he preaches about it being like, hey, if you don't do it, you're left behind.
Yeah,
like he says that all the time, and I'm like, yeah, well, look, like and it's interesting to see what he would do with his kids. He doesn't talk about his kids a lot, but what he does with his kids in and around technology, like, are they allowed to play on their phones? Are they allowed to do?
It's interesting you say that because, like I take for example, my brother-in-law, Jaggy Ash. I don't know what his parents were like with him when it comes to technology and phones, but let me tell you, that guy barely knows how to use a fucking smartphone. I swear to God. And I don't even know why. I'm assuming, but that's an interesting perspective, right? Because you think to yourself, like, what, like,
he's not good with tech, is he?
No, not at all. Like, as in the bloke is literally born in the wrong generation. All he wants to do is work, like work, train, and fucking sleep. Like, I swear to God, like
machine.
Bro, the bloke is actually a machine. Bro, I'm telling you, like, sometimes I'll say, do this, whatever.
So he doesn't scroll.
And he'll give me his phone. No scrolling. He gives me his phone and says, can you do it for me? Like, he doesn't really know how to use his smartphone.
There's actually a footy player that plays for the Warriors. His name is Marcelo Montoya. He's not on social media. He's been on for 10 years.
Wow.
I think it's Facebook and like 5 years for Instagram.
Fuck.
So he doesn't
I love that. That's
any
actually.
social
I love
media.
how
What
that's
a king.
impressive.
Yeah, but it's like people
It's
are like,
true,
oh,
it is
why?
fucking-
But it's like, yeah, but that's pretty hectic.
I know.
Because that's what he says. He's like, I want to be present. Like, I want to be present with my family. I want to be
Yeah.
present with what I'm doing, and that's what mindfulness is, like being present in the current state. So
Let's talk about Uber
But, you
Eats. Let's talk about Uber Eats, you fat dogs out there that just want to order Uber Eats at the click of your fingers.
Because is this
Uber
coming from a
driver.
bloke who drives
Yeah,
fucking
drives
Uber?
I retired
Oh,
Uber
yeah,
driver.
he's gonna get a notification, an email later saying you've been
hang on.
banned for
Yeah, you've been
life.
banned.
I got
Yeah.
a trip. Hang on, guys, I gotta go. So I did. I drove Uber at the start of this year for about 3.5 months, and honestly, so much fun. I had so much fun.
You didn't
driving
do
Uber.
Eats, you just did Uber.
No, I think the concept of like picking up someone's food, you know what I mean, is just a bit gross to me. Like,
Do you reckon they ever have a chip on the way?
Oh mate, no. That's part of the reason I didn't. I'd probably be tempted to be honest with you. But,
Yeah, straight out.
Well, what's it like the difference between obviously just driving and then Uber Eats? Like is it
driving
good?
Uber
Is
and
it-
driving.
it's
The
same
reason,
cash?
Is it the same? Yeah.
I'm not sure if the cash is the same. I imagine it's a little bit better driving people. I think. Don't
'cause for
quote
the
me on that.
distances.
For the distances, correct. There's probably more trips I'd say on Uber Eats because people just stay home and order food all day online. But when I first signed up, I remember my first trip. I was at the beach in Bondi going for a swim, and I had applied to like put all the documents in because it took a couple of weeks to put your application in and then upload your identification and whatever the checklist was for driving Uber. And then I got the email at the beach saying, "Oh, your trip's been approved. Your account's been approved. Open the app and you can start doing it." I was like so excited to just like drive Uber because I got my Ute. You know what I mean? It's a nice Ute. It's new, but like it's a Ute. You know what I mean? I didn't think I'd get approved. So clicked OK for the first trip and then it makes that noise like ding, like you're online. I'm driving home. I'm like, oh, like I'm trying to get a
You're a
trip.
bit nervous.
And you were
or-
saying how they gamify it.
Bro, at the start,
It's
it feels like such a game. Like now I'm so over it. I like Siebes like turning it on just because I can't be bothered doing it anymore. Because I was doing like 30 trips a day for like
Bro, you were
2
loving it
months.
for
Oh,
a
bro, I
while
was
there.
sending it. Remember?
Bro,
Yeah.
you're on your Instagram. You just been fucking Marubra with the sandwich. Like you just been
Yeah,
different
yeah,
places every day.
It was so much fun, bro, for such a long time. Like, and even now, like I've cancelled my insurance to like be able to do Uber, but I mean it's good. It's on my phone whenever I want to do it. I guess if I'm bored on a Saturday or whatever it is, I can just turn it back on. But yeah, man, jumped in an Uber and the lady jumped in. She's like, "Ooh, this is a nice
Ute,
Ute." Yeah, she was
yeah.
like from overseas with her husband. I was like, "Welcome. This is actually my first Uber ride ever." And she's like,
cute.
"Oh wow," and it's cool. So I dropped her in Bondi, and yeah, bro, so much fun. Met so many interesting people. Was able to like learn from so many different people. So many interesting walks of life. Yeah, girls,
Did you keep in
guys,
touch
everything was
with
awesome.
girls, guys?
Yeah,
Did you keep in
No,
touch
like-
with no? Did you keep in touch with any of them? That wasn't a follow up question.
No, I didn't actually.
As in, like you said, you met some like really interesting people, business and whatever.
It would.
Yeah, no.
I'm not
he's
talking
got some
about that with
stories.
Gronk. I'm not talking about.
No. For the most part, definitely like just finished it at the chat. But I was able to definitely help some people. I dropped some lady off at the hospital the other day. She had some issues. She was having a baby, and there might have been some issues with the baby. So like we prayed together and like was able to help
Oh,
her out.
wow.
Yeah.
That's
She was in met a lot of distressed people going through things every day. So if I could be of some assistance,
imagine
And for
that.
them to be
And
able
Imagine
to,
you just went around
yeah.
and you're preaching in the Uber.
Like, literally, that's what I was doing. I was pretty much preaching in the Uber, to
But
be
it's,
honest,
but
as
it's
best as I
interesting
can.
that they're gonna.
As best as I can. And I'm on Uber. Like, I'll show you right now. Let's have a look at my Uber account. I reckon I think I got 5 stars.
Are they trying to get you back into it? By the way, did they send you?
Yeah, they send me
pings and
emails like, hey, make sure you're updated, blah, blah, blah,
Do
blah,
any
blah.
rides and whatever?
Let's see. Oh,
Is
my
that's not
Uber.
the driver portal. There
That's
we
the
go.
driver portal. So can you see that on the...
We're not advanced enough to pull stuff up on the screen like
Yeah.
Joe Rogan yet.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
one
we're
day
getting
we'll
We
there.
talk about advancement technology, but we can't even get our recording sorted.
I'm on airplane mode.
these days.
But yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. But Uber Eats, something I wouldn't be excited to do. I think that's just...
Yeah,
but
where were you going with the Uber Eats
Yeah.
thing? What were you saying on that?
Yeah, so like that's something that we're talking about, like the upsides and downsides of tech. I love that you can, order a snack at home or whatever. But for you lazy dogs that just don't cook anymore, you know what I mean? You're not cooking for your family. You don't want to cook for your husband. And you shouldn't be cooking for your husband. We do equal parts. Cook for your husband. Cook a nice steak. God damn! Oh, here we go. We're gonna get some. JP's looking at me
what
as
do you
if
mean?
to
That's
say.
fucking, no, I think that that's the fact that stuff exists means that it's way easier to start to default on. Bro, it's the same as like if I'm gonna fucking
4.92. So I got 306 5 stars.
hectic.
Only one. Oh, hang on. I got 4 1 stars. Where'd that come from?
Oh my
Oops,
god,
there.
heavy. What did you do?
I don't know. Probably.
You preach to the wrong person.
No.
Wait. I was just gonna say on the very relevant bit in to do with Uber Eats and stuff, because you made a good point. Right? I feel like technology has allowed us
Slowed
to
us down.
shirk our
100%.
what our own perceived responsibilities of
Right.
ourselves have been over the years. For example, like
Cooking.
I could have easily gone and fucking done Roundup on the weeds in my front yard, but guess what? I can air tasker it and get some guy to come over here and round up.
God.
I didn't actually do that, but I'm saying I can.
You can
No,
do it, yeah.
actually, I'll give you a great example. Bro, we were setting up the church in Belmore, St. Oneness Church, which started only a couple of, maybe 3-4 months ago now. And bro, there were a lot of IKEA cupboards to set up.
Yep.
Oh, fuck. When I say a lot, I mean a lot. Like way more than you could
Yes.
imagine. So like, bro, all the boys were there, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, what are we gonna do here?
Air
And then one
Tasker.
of the boys goes, air tasker.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Bro, paid the bloke $600. He stayed for like 8 hours or something.
That's so awesome.
It's mad.
It is
but
convenient.
like, straight
And I'm
up,
a
if that
hypocrite.
hadn't existed, guess what? We would have had to suck it up. All of us stay there.
Yeah.
Because guess what happened? We called him. He came. We all
and I'm a hypocrite
we
too,
all
bro.
buzzed off.
I'm a hypocrite because even at my shop I had a little like heater that was outside, and I just looked at the instructions. I was like, I can't be bothered doing this. So I just put on air tasker like $35.
I thought he was going to say. I thought he was going to say I was at the shop and I had this heater and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to get some wood. Start a fire.
But that's the thing though, in terms of like how we actually move, right? So again, like I talked about before, like 67% of Australians are overweight or obese, and we're doing these things where we're, you know, the stuff that used to make us move, we're putting off to the side for other people to do it for us, whether it's even cooking food, whether it's even, you know, getting your lawns mowed, or even putting some cabinets together, you know. So technology has taken over where people are just sitting down, not doing much, playing PlayStation, playing this, ordering food, like not, you know, not moving at all. So that's decreasing the amount of time that we move, and it's also putting a lot of weight on people in society. It's crazy. So technology is great, 100%. Like I think it's great, but utilizing it in a better way where people can actually still move, still be
You're
healthy,
right.
etc.
I could
And like,
sit on my couch all fucking day and literally do my
and-
job from my couch.
yeah, 100%.
Bad.
And going back to your Uber,
That's what you
like,
do.
that's you right now.
I couldn't do that.
I do not.
hypothetically.
I do not.
But going back to Uber and the technology, it's like, okay,
do.
so how people bring up this new technology which takes over other industries. For
Yes.
example, Uber taxis, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, Air Tasker and all these other things like that, where, you know, it's been such a way for such a long time. 7 minutes. It's been such a way for such a long time that somebody comes and innovates on a massive scale,
Correct.
and sort of puts other people out, I guess, in a way. So I guess Uber Eats or Uber in general is a good example of that, and that's happening consistently
Totally.
in the last 10
Oh,
years.
massively.
Airbnb, for example, as well, with the hotels, etc.
And that's the thing. There's so many more of those to come, but we can't fathom them yet. I mean,
Yeah.
there are the inevitable ones. Like I know
Amazon.
Like, even like you think about like real estate. Obviously, I'm interested in real estate and property, but you can't tell me that in 10 years we're still going to be as reliant upon an agent. As reliant, I'm not saying not reliant at all, on an agent to sell our properties.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, true.
because at the end of the day, enough exists to facilitate those transactions from
Correct.
one to one.
Yeah.
It's just the confidence
Yeah.
or the lack of confidence that doesn't enable people, and the lack of critical mass. Like, you're not going to go and sell your house on your own on a website that says sell your own property, because that exists now, because you know that the mass doesn't exist of people that are searching on those sites, you know, and the likes of real estate and domain. They don't facilitate owners to sell. You can't sell your own property on
Yeah,
real estate
people
or
don't want to do
domain.
that anyway.
But what's needed for
Like
these
that.
these advancements in technologies is visionaries and people who are willing to just like be like, you know what, I've got this idea, and
Or I can do it better.
Since you bring up like
yeah.
real estate, my dad had this idea. He put so much time and effort into this vision. It was called the virtual office, and in Castle Hill, in the shopping centre at Castle Towers, he over like 10 years he had developed this idea from a dream he had into this big, huge, like almost like ATM machine style thing. It had 4 computer screens, and they were like, it was like an hexagonal shape.
Yeah.
And open up the doors, there was like flyers of like pamphlets for each house that was on the market with him or whoever agent was going to buy the license to use this virtual office. There was a computer screen with chairs and like a keyboard and a built-in telephone to be able to like buy and sell property.
So what problem did it solve?
Yeah.
Solve?
So
I'm
it
curious.
was like, it was before we had access to like smartphones at the tips of our fingers. It was almost like
okay.
ahead of its time. It was
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
like,
yeah, okay.
it was almost like it came ahead before people were even like willing to think. It actually, it didn't do as successfully as he wanted to, which actually was like very crushing to him because he had envisioned this thing in his head.
Yeah.
But when we first like went to the towers, they like did like a big opening ceremony. They like cut the ribbon to like,
wow.
yeah, like there was
Far
a
out.
big, huge thing, and people used to walk past it every day. And crazy, you could like list your property on this like virtual office type thing. You could make changes to the listing of the property before everyone could have access to it online. Do all these crazy things, but he took a step of faith to try and like bring this vision to life. And there's a lot. I like to look at these visionaries in whatever industry they perform in or whatever they specialize in, and just like take notes from them.
One thing I've noticed, like there are a lot of technologies like that are considered ahead of their time, right? But often I think that, and this just in my experience, for example, when I actually worked at LJ Hooker, and I was talking with my boss at the time, who was there, and she's now the CEO, and we were having a discussion about technology, and there is this desire for these real estate companies to actually adopt and utilize technology more. But the issue that tends to happen is that the person who needs to drive the change needs to be the person that is using it or transacts frequently. So for example, in the example of real estate, let's just say we're talking about adoption of technology in real estate or property, for example. The person who's selling a house, how often do they transact? If you're selling a house, how often will you on average sell a house?
If you're an agent?
Oh no, if I'm selling my house,
once every 10 years?
Yeah, once every 10 years. So the point is that the end user in that scenario, you that's selling the house, you're never going to be the proponent for change because you're doing it once every 10 years. Why do you give a fuck?
That's right.
So we were talking about the fact that the person that needs to be the proponent for change is the person that's transacting frequently. Yeah. So that's why that at the end of the day, the agent in this example needs to be the person that is the sorry, I forgot the word I was thinking of because Matty was distracting me. Needs to be the proponent for change, like that individual who is transacting frequently. And it's the same thing when we think about anything really. Like that's why in property management, for example, from a property standpoint, it's a lot easier to drive change. Why? Because the landlord is transacting more frequently with the agency because every month you're getting paid, or there might be maintenance issues, there might be this, or there might be that. So often, a lot of the time, it's about thinking about the end user. And who is the person that is going to drive the change in that industry, and do they care enough? Why would they instigate or drive change? So
if you could look at one, I guess industry for each of you, what would it be? What would be an industry that you would want to innovate in, or have you ever? I don't know, JP, you've had sort of thoughts about this within the real estate sector. But what is it that you would look at doing or look at changing, and what industry?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been interested personally in, I've been on a property investing journey over the last kind of 6 years, and built myself up a little bit of a portfolio, and I've really enjoyed that. But also the thing that I'm really passionate about, especially when other people talk to me about it, is enabling other people to create wealth and, to create wealth through property, right? Yeah. And I never looked at it as a wealth game to begin with. Like I just was like, oh, I've got a bit of extra money, I should probably invest it somewhere because that's what my dad did. And then I got into it and I really started to enjoy it, and I understood the power of it. So for me, I would love to be able to innovate in the space where, enabling people to invest in whatever it may be, but in this case for me, property, with a lot more conviction and understand what exactly they're doing. I think people still tend to default now to, when they've got a bit of money, they go, buy a property, and they'll buy a property, near where they live. Even for me, my first property I bought was in Greystanes. And why do they do that? Because that's where my dad bought, my uncle bought, my cousin bought, everyone lives, you know what I mean? So that space is fascinating for me, and I think that it's a space that genuinely helps people and something I'm passionate about. If I had to do something for free for the rest of my life, it'd be that.
Do that, yeah. Beautiful. Wow. What are you, Matty? What would you look into innovating in?
Bro, I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. I think working in hospitality for such a long time, there's obviously been the innovation in terms of like online ordering platforms and getting food and coffee delivered at the click of your fingers. And even when I was running the shop, I was able to like set up Hey You and set up Uber Eats on our behalf, and Menu Log and DoorDash and all these type of things, which helped us so much. But
what percentage of your revenue did that
so Uber Eats took, I think, like 27 or 30%.
Oh no, I mean like how, in terms of what you sold, what did that represent?
For our store specifically, probably less than 10%.
Okay, all right.
But I would imagine if you're in an area that's not as high foot traffic as we were, because that's where a lot of our foot traffic was coming from. Plus we were anchored and neighboring other small businesses, so we didn't see as much of a need to, push and advertise on those platforms. But in saying that, I know restaurants and cafes that opened up on during COVID purely as a dark restaurant. Purely as a...
Have you heard of Cloud Kitchens?
Yeah, they've got like 6 restaurants going in the same place.
Yeah, that's it. Do you know who started that? Funnily enough, the founder of Uber. So they hit me up for a job years ago, and you had to sign an NDA Oh fuck! I'm talking about it. Whatever. No, but everyone knows about the company now. Fuck, if this gets big, we're fucked. It's called Cloud Kitchens, and basically it was started by Travis Kalanick, who's the old CEO of Uber. We're fucked. We're getting off YouTube. We're getting kicked. Sorry if you can hear this was an accident.
Wow. Okay.
And basically he started these huge kitchens that were for any restaurant to come into, generate food, drivers to come in and out and deliver the food.
Nowadays there's so many on there, but in terms of where would I like to see progression or I consider myself a creative person to an extent. I'd like to get back to on that one. I think I want to experience a little bit more first, and as those ideas come naturally, and I think it's so cool when you get an idea and you know that it's like from the divine or from God or something that you've been really manifesting on for a while, and then see it come to life. I think that creative aspect is something that is creativity inherent to you, or is creativity something that you can foster over time? That's something I'm trying to work out now, because I like to think I do have an element of creativity within my soul, but definitely as I'm surrounded by people who are of a creative spirit or around other creatives, definitely I can leverage off them as well to help foster those ideas. So.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, mine would just be in the fitness industry, obviously. I've had a lot of opportunity to sit down and try some things within certain businesses and try innovate on some smaller things, but definitely in how we can make it a little bit easier for everybody to move forward and find that find the health that they need and find the health that they want, especially in the technology that we have now. And the fitness industry is massive now. Online training, massive through COVID. Obviously you had to do it. You had to do online training, whether it was through Zoom or whether it was just through your general online training. So that's probably the place that I'll probably want to be able to innovate in some way. But again, it's hard because you're dealing with people's emotions.
Right.
It's very much so it's hard because in the fitness industry, a lot of it's convincing people that health is important.
Yeah,
that as a PT, that's what you do a lot of the time. You're trying to convince people that health is important, moving is important, eating good food is important.
Yes.
So it can be very difficult to be able to come up with innovations where people buy into that and go, I can do that consistently for a very long time.
Yeah. But all that aside, how grateful we are, we're born in this time, we're living
100%.
as young people in 2023, a point in time where technology, obviously wherever you're living, that's the point in time where it's never gotten, it's never exceeded that. But right now,
it hasn't gotten worse.
We're just it's exciting. It's also
and
scary.
The
opportunities are.
But Gary Vee talks about it all the time, saying how think about, man, it took us realistically we could get this podcast up and running in less than 24 hours if we wanted to, if we were starting again, in terms of buy the deck, headphones, this, upload to Spotify, 5 fucking minutes.
Yeah, Amazon send the package, you get it same day.
Yeah, exactly 100%. Right.
Yeah, and with regards to what you're saying about it being so good, for me, again, I was born in the age where we didn't have all this stuff, so I've been able to see all this progression. And I'm 35 now, so I'm still young.
But even our grandparents, imagine, even my grandmother, she sits there, she scrolls on Facebook, she knows her thing. That's such a foreign thing to me.
Hey, but there's so many grandparents on TikTok now.
So many grandparents
on TikTok.
Gary Vee talks about that as well. Yeah,
man,
killing it.
Sometimes one day scroll through your parents or your grandparents' Facebook feed, and the quality of ads in terms of scammy stuff, you can notice the quality is lower, but they look at it and they go, oh wow, bro, I found it. I remember when I was at home, when I was living at home, and I'm like, bro, I was looked at the washing and there's a pair of Step 1 undies. I'm like, Dad, where did you fucking? Because there's no way he would have found them at the shops.
Well,
I'm
that's
like,
on TV
did you
as
buy
well.
this off an ad?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I did. He bought it. And that just made me piss myself because my dad bought something off an ad on Facebook where he's just basically talking to his friends in Egypt. He's just seen an ad.
That's a good topic though to talk about with regards to business, how traditional marketing changed from traditional marketing over to
unfortunately, JP's got a little meeting to get to. We do have to wrap it up, but we could talk about hours for technology, and maybe that's something to talk about in the next episode or the next coming episodes, is how digital media and marketing has changed for different industries. But let us know what you think about the next topic. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate it. Love you.
All right, episode number 7.
Let's go.
Hey, next week. Thanks, guys.
Any closing comments, JP?
Got to run to this meeting actually.
No. All right, love you. Love you. Cheers, guys. Yes, go.
Oh, wrong one.